Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today on Tallidus Plays, we continue our Timberborn playthrough on the Lakes map. And if you can't tell by the ominous music that's continuing to play, it is a drought. It's the longest drought yet. It's going to be 5 days, and it's just started. So as the water starts to go away, we'll have an idea of what we're dealing with these new basins that we've created. Again, this is the first to kind of drain. We'll probably see this whole area drain out as well. Again, we did place a dam here, luckily just in time to kind of maintain this whole area. So the idea is we want to keep as much of this water available to us as possible during the drought so that we can still pump it out. And eventually we want to keep all this land, arable, or whatever the term is. I keep saying arid or arable. I think arid is bad, arable might be good, but verdant, green, if you will, in that vein. So water's doing good, food is okay. We got tons of food right now. And our production chains are, chugging along quite well. We got potatoes going. We got the grills, grilled potatoes. So decent little, variety in the beaver diet. We're working on getting some next tier items such as pine resin, gears, and eventually we will hopefully get maple syrup. But that is a little ways out. We have the maples being planted right now. We did eventually create the second forester, so he's hard at work here. Helping out the initial foresters. So now we have two foresters, and you can see their footprints overlap a fair amount. Ironically, there's this little 2 gap here. So I'll go ahead and just get rid of this. There's 2 trees that will not be planted at any point. So we'll just get rid of those. Okay, but otherwise they should be able to access all this area. So that is their, very, very important lumber footprint. On that note, we do still have these berry collector and lumberjack over here. Kind of going through this area. This should be marked for clear cutting. Let's check. Yes. So these all will eventually get chopped down. And I'm not sure what I use this for. Probably more farmland, because this farm does cover almost this entire area. So we might put a second farmhouse down. Because if you haven't noticed, these beavers and this farmhouse are having a hard time keeping up with the potato crops. They're barely getting through to this kind of, I would say, 2/3 of this field before the crops right around the house continue to regrow. So keeping that in mind, I might put a farmhouse like here in such a way that it actually overlaps with some of these sunflowers as well. Because again, these carrots and potatoes are keeping all 6 of the farmer beavers very, very busy. Also, these guys prioritize the potatoes, but if for some reason they catch up on potatoes, they can go over here and help out a little bit with the carrots. As well, these guys can help out a little bit with the potatoes. Not much, but a little bit. But yeah, the big one here is sunflower seeds. If we harvest those more often, beavers will be a little bit happy, because you can see we have absolutely no sunflower seeds in storage. They just get eaten up as soon as they come in to the storage here. So you see your sunflower seeds completely empty. That's sort of the, the preferred luxury snack, if you will. It's not that luxurious, but the beavers like them. So, I've spun my gears long enough, pun intended, to get some science, and I think we're about ready to unlock the observatory. We need 1,000 science to do so. So we're halfway there. I misspoke. But I believe we can unlock a couple other things. Again, I do want to really ramp up science production before we get too fancy with any other food kind of production chains. I don't believe I've actually done anything with beehives. That might have been added after I stopped playing. Large water pump isn't the worst idea, but thankfully right now with our dam situation, we have enough kind of reserved water to where the beavers aren't really running short. Like, we're keeping the storage almost completely full. Yeah, I mean, 450 is our total capacity in storage, so they're doing okay there. Jobs-wise, we have 6 unemployed beavers, but that's good. I'd rather have unemployed beavers than open jobs. So a little bit of unemployment isn't the worst thing. Beavers don't need an income, so if they're not working, they're just kind of hanging out and enjoying life. So no problem there. Let's see, is this bee? Okay, yeah, he can access all this. So we are getting plenty of berries. Oh yeah, there are blueberries, okay. And again, you can see here, we keep filling up our storage. So I keep going up and up and up with these storage. So I'm going to do that again. Again, there's no reason not to. Keep building up that surplus. It's not a bad idea. It is getting a little trickier, though, with the stairwells, but we can use a platform to get up here and up there. And then let me think how I want us to connect. We need to go Ooh, platform. Can't build it over the crops. Interesting. Let me think about this. I'm gonna have to up and then over. I don't know. This one might be a little tricky. Oh, you know what I could do is go around. Let's see. Can I build two? Maybe if I go, no, see that? I could go here, here, there, and then I need to build a double platform. Can I unlock? Okay, that would work. So we are going to unlock the double platform. Again, we're wasting a little bit of science, but this will be worth it in the long haul. This will make things like this a lot more realistic. So let's go ahead and delete. This is redundant. Also, if you think about it, the single platform costs 6 planks, whereas the double platform costs 8, not 12. So if you know you need dew, it's a little bit more efficient to do it that way with the double platform. So having said that, the reason I'm doing this is because we need to build the path like so to connect to the higher carrot farm, but I don't want to build it over the carrot crop. And this will connect it to the rest of the system. Otherwise, we need to get this staircase down, so double platform here. And then we can go... let's see, double, down, around. Let's do... This is a little wacky. This is going to look crazy, but we're going to do this. So we'll do that. Single here, because again, we need the path to come out, over, and then come down. Yeah, and then it'll connect to the rest of them. So it's going to get a little wackadoodle. Again, with the spiral staircase, this becomes a little bit more, I don't know, ergonomic. Right now it's a little spaghettification. It's kind of like one of my Factorio builds. And then let's go ahead and set this one up as well. We need this to connect, so platform here. This one should be a bit more straightforward. Platform, and then we go double platform. No. Yeah, I think we need to. Double platform, then we'll do a single platform staircase down. Bop, like so. Staircase down here, and then, yeah, this should connect like that. So, again, it's tricky. You need to give the staircase one extra. See, that's, yeah, see, I need to go here. And then, sadly, we need to go this. Again, I am very, very happy they introduced spiral staircases, which I'll probably unlock sooner than later. It's not super urgent, though, so we're going to hold off because we want to save up as much science as we can for the next science building, which I believe is the observatory, which, again, that takes horsepower and converts it into science. But, yeah, we need to really ramp up the production of science. Right, earmark these for their relative resources. This one is going to be, what is this? Grilled potatoes. Yeah, grilled potatoes here. And again, at some point, we will also upgrade our storage to have these large warehouses. Look at these big boys. So this is like I think a 3x3. But again, this holds 1,200 versus 200. So 1,000 additional capacity. Again, it is bigger, right? Let's see. Let's do some math here, actually. This is going to be interesting. So if this were to be the same as one of these, let's see, 3x3 is 9, and this takes up basically a 2 height. So it's 18. This is a 6 slot. So 6 times 3 is 18, but 200 times 3 is only 600. So this is way more efficient. This is literally twice as efficient as the large, or the medium warehouse. So yeah, we do want to get a large warehouse sooner than later. Again, that's kind of the name of the game. They probably wouldn't make it an option if it wasn't more efficient. We're going to go back to slightly faster level 2 speed here. And I think we might actually build another inventor, because again, we do have those unemployed beavers. So let's go ahead and ramp up our science program just a little bit more. Put 2 more up here, actually. And some of these unemployed beavers can start getting smart. On that note, I think I do want to build another lodge, just to kind of bolster our population, because I know we got some aging beavers. They should be, you know, kind of circling around the back 9 of life, so to speak, so we want to have some replacements for them. I'm going to put this one, how do I get this? I'll do it here, and then we should be able to build a couple of platforms like so. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that'll work. That's the least cost-worthy, or, you know, cost-effective way to do it. Yeah. But otherwise, we have a decent, income on logs. Planks, not so much because they're immediately either being turned into gears or they're being used for constructions like our platforms and whatnot. Platforms take planks, stairs as well. So planks are definitely getting used up pretty quickly. To the point where I might want to consider getting a mechanism to spin this wheel because, yeah, we're not going to have any power during droughts. So we do always have the hamster wheel, the power wheel, which we have yet to use. This is basically a backup source of power where a beaver literally spins the wheel like it's in a gerbil. I think I'm going to attach it to the back of one of these bad boys. So yeah, let's do that. We'll get rid of a few of these. We'll clear these 3, and I think we only need to clear one other crop. I think this one. And then the idea is I take the power wheel, and I think it only takes... Yeah, it takes 3 spaces, and it lays flat, and then just needs 1 in the middle to enter. So yeah, that'll go up flush against that. We'll get rid of these, and then it'll connect straight to that path, so... That should be pretty easy. We also need to destroy these, I believe, yes, like so. That way they actually come through and pull them up, which I'm going to do right now. And then we can put in the power wheel. And the idea is that during the drought, we can always pause this if it's not a drought. But during the drought, you'll still have something that can power these structures. And that something will be a hard-working beaver. Now, this doesn't provide a whole lot of horsepower. You can see here, it only provides 50 horsepower. I believe just a single lumber mill takes, what, 50? Yeah, 50 for a single lumber mill, and then 120 for the gear workshop. So these will only really let one lumber mill work with the input of a beaver's power. But that's all I really care to have during the drought, at least for now. We don't really need more gears. We have a little bit of an excess. This is sort of just a short-term stopgap measure. But basically, you'll see Zirkoi here is going to run on over, and he's going to start getting his cardio in. Do your thing. Look at that. So it's technically, I guess everything is being powered. It's just very inefficient. You can see these are getting only 24% of the total power for this network. And of course, when the working hours are done, there is no power. No power is needed because nobody's working in those buildings. And look at that. We're already almost full again on carrots in the new warehouse. That's pretty nuts. So halfway full. This one can't be reached yet because we're still working on these structures. They'll get there eventually. Can't get all required. Yeah, they need planks. Yeah, so eventually we will get more planks. That's what's stopping all these from being accessed. At this point, it's not a bad idea to look into another well-being structure. I think we have the medical beds, got showers, grindstones, terrace, campfire. Yeah, none of these are being used like too often. Yeah, the grindstone's barely being used at all. Let's check the medical bed. Yeah, not that much. Okay, so we're pretty good. I mean, they could use more, but it's not the worst. We have yet to collect any maple syrup. These trees are still growing. They're coming along. Again, the pine resin is finally coming in. Where are we storing the pine resin at? Does that go into a warehouse? Yeah, okay, right here. There we go. We got 40 pine resin. Okay, so that's coming along. Again, we still got about a day and a half left on this drought. You can see here, this is what I was keeping an eye on, is this basin here is really good to know. If we have aquatic plants here, for instance, they will stay throughout at least 5 days worth of drought, more than likely. Because I'm not sure if the water level is affected by aquatic plants. I think they just need to be submerged. Same goes for this little area here. Honestly, these whole channels seem to be fairly well off. And this area, for that matter. It's getting low. You can see the water is dropping. It's about... Can I go underneath? Yeah, you can see there. Looks like it's about a third of the way down. I would call that like 0.3. Again, most dams by default are, I think, 0.65 is where the spillway is located. That's like 2/3 of the way up. So keeping that in mind, we kind of have an idea on how long these areas can last. Now, we can get more creative with the hydro engineering and pumping water and storing water. Also, I believe that the seeps can be drilled out. So there are seeps in certain parts of the map. I think we've got one over here. I want to say, like, where was it? Maybe I'm thinking of a different map. I thought there was one over here. Can I go underwater? Kind of. Oh, yeah, a little bit. That doesn't really show me anything. Okay. But every once in a while, you might find a seep, and that could basically be drilled to produce additional water even, I think, even during a drought. I've yet to use them, though, in a normal game. So, we're making our way. Another day is over. The beavers are doing their thing and enjoying the fruits of their labor, or the vegetables of their labor. Yeah, so now we're kind of waiting for the inventors to really get cracking. We have 2 unemployed beavers, 2 open beds. So again, that is the when this lodge becomes accessible, that'll help. Because look at that, we have only 1 child, possibly a second child coming around. So that means we're gonna get to a little bit of a bottleneck on the population age. So when all these beavers start growing old and dying of old age, well, we need to be able to replace them at a decent clip. And keep in mind that it takes 7 days for a beaver to grow up from being a child to an adult when it can work. So there's a little bit of a time lapse there. I've yet to really mess with automation. That'll come into play, I think, a bit later on in the playthrough when we actually start messing around with the fancier things. Mines, smelter, scavenger flags. This is all has to do with these metal structures left behind by some sort of primate species that apparently once ruled the earth, but they're now no longer here. So beavers rule the world now. The hauling post is still fine. We could add a couple beavers to this if we wanted to. We don't have the spare beavers though, so we're not going to do that. I think the next thing I'm going to probably look into is getting a bread operation up and going. So we could do, we need a grist mill and a bakery. So this grinds the wheat into flour, and obviously the bakery bakes the flour into bread. But this can also use other things like the cattail, and then even the, I think that's maple syrup can be combined with flour to make sort of delicious pastries. So that wouldn't be a bad idea. We could skip along straight to pastries. I'm all about that. Also, we could do the spatterdock and, what's the other aquatic thing? Spatterdock and cattail. So these can both be grown via aquatic farmhouses. So I think this actually is a good idea. The drought resistance, though, very, very low. So look at that. So these things cannot survive without being almost constantly submerged in water. Again, it makes sense. It's an aquatic plant, right? So spatterdock is, I believe that needs to be grilled. Yeah, you can do grilled spatterdock. That's how you eat that. Cattail. I think cattail might need to be processed into cattail crackers. Yeah, so that one you need to use the bakery, I'm pretty sure. So let's see if we go to food and we look at the bakery. Yeah, so the cattail is combined with lumber. Is it ground with the mill? Yeah, okay, so the grist mill grinds the cattail down into cattail flour. Interesting. Did not know that was a thing. Maybe it's just a thing in Timberborn. But look at that. We have officially dried up. We've either pumped or lost all the water out. We are now officially in drought mode on our main base. All of our plants have stopped growing. Tree farm's still doing okay because it's next to this big old reservoir. And look at that. Luckily, the drought has officially ended. And we are at the beginning of cycle 4. So here you see the notes. These buildings need water. These buildings are unconnected. We've got construction that lacks materials because that's all the planks that are required. And the planks aren't being made because we don't have enough power. So technically all these buildings are being used, but they're going very slowly because we got one little beaver powering all 3 of these structures. So thankfully, with the drought being over, the other nice thing about keeping all this water in reserves is that when the water starts flowing again, it fills up this whole basin much quicker because it's not starting from 0. So when the basin fills up quicker, that means it takes less time to get to our actual water wheel. So it's kind of a win-win there as well. We keep more back, we can start doing aquatic farming in this whole area, but also we get to use all that sweet, sweet reservoir to get a sort of a head start. So where it used to take almost a full day to start breaching this dam, I'm willing to bet we'll be above this dam before nightfall. Let's see. As you can see the flow of water start to continue here. It starts to pick it up. Again, it's coming through here, through this little grotto. And there's also that grotto up there. I'm not sure if grotto is the correct term, but it's kind of an underground, slightly submerged cave area. Let's see here. Day is almost through. And look at this. Terezi is still doing a hell of a job. 53. That's fairly old in Beaver terms, so Terezi might not be around much longer, but look at that. Right as night begins to fall. So again, this used to take a full 24 hours after the end of the drought, but now I'll call that almost an even 16. So, head start, getting everything back to hydrated status. Oh, these potatoes dry out pretty quick, actually. They only have a drought resistance of 1 day. I did not know that. Is that true? Crops? Wow, 1 day. Wheat is half a day. So if I am to eventually... Oh, all these potatoes are dead too. I wonder if they're still harvestable even though they died. Like the plant died, but maybe we can still pull the potatoes out? Not sure. So we have to keep that in mind, because yeah, droughts are really going to mess with us when it comes. And look at this, we have a little bit of spillover. This is going to happen as water kind of flows in unevenly. You're going to get some of that kind of flash flooding syndrome because it's coming down so fast and hitting this dam that it's going to back up through the system. So look at how fast this wheel is turning. Though. This is probably, what, 280? Yeah, 235. So just enough with this beaver to supplement the power, but good amount of power supply. But yeah, these guys have to now go through and replant all these potatoes. So keeping that in mind, it takes 6 days to grow. Interesting. This whole area is flooding up quite nicely as well. Huh. Okay, so what should the next project be? I think maybe on a little aquatic farm. We'll get the simple stuff in. These grills, they're full of potatoes. And grilled potatoes. We don't need more... We don't really need more potatoes at all. I think now what we'll do is... Well, these grills are kind of far. I think we're going to go ahead and set up an aquatic farm here. Because we know that this stays wet for a while. So we're going to set that up now. The best way to do that is... We can build a path off of here. How far is this? 49... How far is this? 24. Ooh, that's closer. There's a way to do this with minimal loss of plants. So we're going to go through and we're going to have to chop this, and then we do need an aquatic farm. So I think the aquatic farm needs to be above water though, the actual farm. So we have to unlock that. So yeah, we'll burn a little bit more science. It's okay, we're still approaching that 1,000 mark. I just do want to get this going. Employees, specialized farmers to plant and harvest aquatic crops. Okay. Also, let's check. Yeah, we'll need to... I'm torn. I don't want them to have to go all the way underwater to get to this farm, so we will need a path. So I hate to say it, but... Well, what we could do is... Could we just build a... plank path? Like we could do, there's nothing that says we can't do this, all the way over like that. And then go here, and then we can cut off just a couple more trees. I just don't want to waste tons of these trees that we just planted. But we do got to get rid of a few. So do that. Destroy these resources. There we go. And then just these two. And then we'll put a staircase. Oh, we need to back set this though too. So I misspoke. We need to put this back one more row. Clear that, and then we'll destroy these. So slight crime, but not the end of the world. And again, it's going to take us a minute to build all these platforms as well. The reason I'm doing this is because eventually we will have bad tides. So I don't want to force my beavers to walk through bad tides to get over to the aquatic farmhouse. They're going to have their hands full, you know, doing all the other stuff. So, also on that note, what we're probably going to have them do, and then yeah, we'll just do paths here, like so. So these paths will be above water, and then eventually they'll walk right over here. And then we'll put stairs like so, and then the farmhouse will go right here, and then we'll plant all the stuff right here for the aquatic farm. Now, keeping that in mind, we need something that can control the flow of water so we don't get bad tide all up in our business here. So we want to maintain as much of this water, good water, but we want to have a thing that keeps out the bad tide. So the way to do that was probably with a floodgate. Dam, again, has a permanent spillway at the top, so it's always going to let water through, which we don't want to happen during bad tide, because bad tide, basically, the water flows at the exact same rate, but it becomes the gross, bad red water. And that kills pretty much everything it touches, all the plants. It also hurts beavers, it makes them sick. So, you're going to have a bad time with the bad tide. It occurs to me that we probably need more log storage. So we're going to build... You know, I'd like to actually... man, we're just going to do a large pile for now. Eventually we will go to the massive pile, but... We'll just do this for logs, because we are... I've seen that all these trees are growing much faster than expected, which means that my lumberjacks have nothing to do. Yeah. Look at this. I'm going to mark these trees for cutting, actually. We don't want to cut these, though. This is all sap. We want to keep all that. Oh, actually, we need to unmark this area. Yeah. These they can keep cutting, though, if they need to get to them. Yeah, they might get to them eventually. Alright, so... We got a project going on. Right now, it's all about really, we need more power, we need more planks. Is this generating enough? It's not generating enough. We need another water wheel. So let's build that. We can use, basically, we can put it in line. This will generate also more power. Sadly, we might be able to fit a third one here eventually, but we'll have to use a little bit of our old TNT to clear that space. Also, they can't get down here, so we need stairs. So we'll just put them right here. Actually, yeah, that'll be fine. Put the stairs right there. They need to be able to get down to actually, you know, build the water wheel. And let's go ahead and bump the priority on this, because I really need planks going. Because, yeah, these planks are not running at a full efficiency. You see here? Power input there is 47, 47, 113. So when the water is flowing, we're good, but that's also requiring the input of this manual guy. And I would like this whole thing to work automatically when the water is flowing. So, more power. It's always a good idea. Eventually we will build a gravity battery, but that does take a little bit more science and a little bit of elevation. You need to build it kind of on the precipice. So there's some tall kind of plateau areas over there. We can even use this area. So the idea is you want a very sharp drop, because this kind of dangles off the side of a wall. So you want it to be like as high as it can be with a sheer cliff, because it only works as tall as it is. So if it was like right here, it wouldn't hold much power. Right here, it holds a lot more, like 3 times as much power. So, because, you know, that's just the potential energy of the battery, so to speak. Higher is better. And surely enough, they are now constructing this water wheel with all the logs available. Food production is going well. Sunflowers are being harvested a little bit here. Beavers are fairly happy. They're at a 10 right now, which is kind of where they've been hovering. 11, 10, 11, somewhere in that range. We're 4 days into the 4th cycle, and they're starting this little aquatic farm pathway project, which again takes planks. And planks is the bottleneck right now. You can see there. We've only got 4 in storage, so that's what we're trying to make more of. I might really want to build another lumber mill at this point. Eventually we're going to need another gear workshop as well. So I think what we'll do is, it is a real shame because I don't want to keep wasting this crop space, but we're also not really harvesting these sunflowers. Some of these have been here for weeks without getting harvested. So the other option, of course, is to run the power underground or above ground with power shafts. You can sort of upgrade these. You can make them go vertically, like so. There's a clutch as well, which that kind of lets you turn on and off power distribution, which is nice for more complex industrial setups. I really want all my industry to be like here, where the water can't go, because that's not space that could be used for farming. Problem is getting power back there. Now you can also build windmills. We have these wind turbines. Naturally, though, they are not as consistent as the flow of water. They do work during droughts, so that is a good idea. But I don't know. I think for the time being, we'll just keep the industry on the coast here and use the water wheels. This one is almost done. One more log. And again, beavers like having wet fur. Wet fur is a bonus to them. So, see right here. That gives them an extra little pop of happiness. And there we go. Look at our power network now is basically doubled in supply. So we no longer require a beaver to be manually operating this particular wheel. And having said that, we are just on the cusp of perfect employment. We have one vacant job, which is actually the power wheel. So we'll leave that at neutral requirements. Again, we just hit 1K, just over 1,000 science. So before I mess up and spend it on something else, we're going to buy the observatory. And this needs to be, you guessed it, powered. So this takes 200 horsepower. So it would behoove us to create even more water wheels. So right now this network is demanding 240. These are producing basically 240. Well, I'm mistaken this. So this is 50, 50. This one would be, well, see, it's not saying it because it's not currently actually being used. I can look down here. Okay, so a lumber mill takes 50 horsepower and a gear workshop takes 120. So that's 220 between those three structures. So that's pretty much everything we've got. So yeah, we need to build more power. A Tim Allen moment here. See, this one we can do 1, 2. Yeah, see, it's still stuck there. Interesting. How do we do this in a realistic, good way? What we could do is just put them back here. Yeah. So we need 1 and then 2, like so, and then we put the observatory right there. We'll have to move the path a little bit, but that is easier done than said, actually. The berries can just copy and I'll just place another one over here. Again, this guy barely needs to do anything. He's just chilling on these berries. The lumberjack as well. He's pretty much done. I mean, he's got what, 2 or 3 more trees left? And then these are all just gone, so yeah. Do we just let them finish? Yeah, we just let them finish. They're going to have to build these anyways. And we're using up a lot of logs. So yeah, we'll let them chop down these last couple trees. There's some regrowth happening, but I don't think it's really going to be that important. So, and then what we'll do is just take the path and we'll put it down through here. It's going to go like there, across, and then up like that. And then we go back through here, and we just simply delete this structure. Demolish selected buildings, yes. And then, yeah, we'll let them whack down these oaks, because that's a good amount of wood. We could use it. Kind of min-maxing right now. We got, the storages are both pretty much full of logs. But we need them for the planks to continue this project over here as well. And eventually we will be planning the aquatic farm. As you can see here, we can do the spatter dock will be my first crop of choice because I don't have the mills yet. So we'll do spatter dock, just a whole big old field of it when I figure out what my sort of footprint will be with the aquatic farm. We'll start speeding up to 3 throughout the evenings just because there's not a lot going on at night. We'll have to build a couple more grills for spatter dock, but that'll be nice because it'll add a little bit more variety to the beaver diet, which makes them all even happier. And, you know, hedges are a pet. You got to diversify so your beavers don't die. Because, again, we've learned the hard way that the potatoes are very, very brittle. They only have 1 day of drought resistance, so if this thing dries up, these things are gone. So that is something to keep in mind. Again, eventually we will hydro-engineer, do a bit of a terraforming project, and hopefully create quite a nice little reservoir. I'm thinking possibly this area, just kind of screaming reservoir. We could plug up a few of these gaps with levees. Also this area, anywhere where the water flows out of, can be turned into a reservoir. If you're really smart, you build a diversion so bad water can just flow away, but then you have like floodgates that allow it to enter into a proper reservoir, and that'll fill up, and you can control the flow of water during droughts. So you're not only do you still have water, period, but your water wheels keep spinning because the water is actively flowing out of your reservoir through the rest of the map. So it's a kind of a next level, high-end pro gamer move there from a very amateur gamer. And look at that, we're done. This lumberjack can be destroyed, and so can this berry gatherer. We got another one coming up there for the berries, but the lumberjack I don't really care about anymore because these trees have all been chopped. There's a couple little ones, but that's not a big deal. It's not really worth waiting for. We're going to demolish, again, just a couple of these, and now we have space for our observatory. Which, frankly, I might be building a little bit of a row of these, see how much power we get. But for now, I think we just go like so. We could also build an offset if we wanted to. Do we want to do it like this? It's getting power either way. I'm trying to think. This is actually closer. Let's see. That is 43, 52. Yeah, this is a little bit closer. Again, think about it on the day-to-day, right? This is your commute. So Beaver's got to walk that distance every day. I'd rather than be walking 44 to get to work than 51 to get to work. So this is weird, but, you know, it's a little idiosyncratic kind of thing to think about. But the faster they can get to the observatory, the sooner we can get that delicious science. And again, we're going to start really teching up in this game. That's why I have 5 inventors over here kind of grinding out science. But again, the observatory is infinitely more effective at grinding science. That's also why we have the pine resin and the gears that we've been saving up for this exact structure to be constructed. What we can also do is eventually link the power together. We can use the power shafts to link this and this. That way the system is a little bit more resilient. And ideally, we'll start having surplus power that we can save in the form of a gravity battery. Could potentially use this area. This is a little bit of a cliff drop. So if we wanted to, we could put it like right here. And it would drop down there. The other way to kind of change that is platforms. We can use these platforms, or even, I believe there is a overhang. The metal platform is a really good idea too. Because this gives you like a big old, you know, extended area. And it creates a natural overhang because it's just a tall platform. So you can put gravity batteries all around the sides of that. And then what you can do is actually build a bunch of triple platforms like so. Stack them on top of each other. Eventually, I think there is a height limit to the whole map. I believe we can actually see that as well. If we go hold, what am I thinking? Alt, yeah. So I think the limit is 14, 15 maybe. And you can see when I scroll down what that limit looks like. So 15 is here. I think this might be like the tallest thing on the map so far. So when I scroll down, you can see that's 14 to 13. So 14 is that, 15 is one up, and then that's infinite. So in theory, let me even see. Could I even place a double platform? Oh, I could. Could I put a single on top of it? Like so? Keep going? Really? I wonder if that's true or if that's just nonsense. I don't know. We'll get rid of these. Okay, I messed up here. I probably should have done this. Can I do it more efficiently like so? Just do light, light, light. Okay, that's a little bit better. The beavers are humming along quite nicely here. I'm going to fast forward and let these projects commence a little bit more. I might also look into doing some power shafts because we can build a platform to carry the power straight across. That way this excess power, if there is excess, which there should be, this is going to be way more. This only requires 200 power. These should each provide about 130. So yeah, we can connect these pretty easily by just doing this. We'll take a platform. We'll go 1, 2, 3. Now the trick here is the beavers have to run around. Well, I guess this is next to the shore, so that's not a big deal. Normally you got to think about the order of operations. So we build, 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 build. So this will connect this whole power system together. and we're chugging right along here. Day 9 of cycle 4. We have started up the project to get the aquatic farm going. We've expanded our science production, and we're looking to diversify. Expanded storage a little bit as well. I, for some reason, clicked bread instead of berries. There we go. I was going to say, why is this not full of blueberries? Should be already pretty much full, because I know we have a bunch of... If you see something kind of getting stocked up, you can tell there's either a bottleneck or you're just filling up in storage. It's either a bottleneck in production or, like in this case, I think we're almost full on our pine resin storage. 160 out of 200, so it's worth throwing another one of these on top. Not the worst idea ever. Also, not the worst idea to officially unlock the spiral staircase. 350, we can afford it now. This just makes things a lot easier. Look at this. Instead of like worrying about the runway and all that, we just put one spiral here, pop, and then 3 platforms, and boom, that's connected. Easy peasy. I'll set this to pine resin before I forget. There we go. We got more storage. Check your other storages here. Gears coming along nicely. Planks always empty, as is expected. Again, full on potatoes, full on carrots. What you gonna do? Spiral staircases will help us expand these though, because watch. I'll use the carrots as an example. Carrot, boom, new structure. Now all we need is a single platform right there, and then we need to do a spiral staircase off of this one. I believe the way to do that is to take a double platform. Oh, you know what? We don't even need to do that. We can just do a double and then a single. These connect across the top like so. Yeah, that's fine. And then more grilled potato storage as well. So we'll set this up. Again, it's all about verticality in Timberborn. You want to really use your space as efficiently as possible. We need a staircase to get down here. So we'll do that, and now check it out. Spiral staircase, like so. Boom. 1 path, 2 path. So this connects so much better. That's so much more convenient. Let's also not forget to mark this as grilled potatoes. But before they do all that, let's prioritize the observatory and these water wheels, because I think they're getting distracted with the aquatic farm project. Yeah, see, they got all these paths laid out. They just need to destroy these trees, and then I will eventually build the actual aquatic farm house, which employs 2 beavers, and it also, of course, takes a bunch of planks to build. But yeah, I think this should, you can actually already get an idea of the footprint here. If we were to put it here, that covers a good chunk of this basin. Not the whole thing, but a good chunk. I actually might clear out a spot and use this to do more. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Here's the other thing, too. We don't want to use a dam here, because I like most of this water to be able to go through here. If we put a dam here and here, this whole basin will dry up faster, because it doesn't have access to this whole wide swath of water. So keeping that in mind, I think it would be a good idea to research floodgates now. It's only a matter of time, and look at that, we just happen to have the right amount of science. So floodgates are great. A drought approaching in 3 days. What do you know? But floodgates are great. They let you control the water a lot more, granularly. If that makes sense. You can really get kind of hone in on it. You cannot, however, use them as a bridge. You can't build paths over them. So we're going to do a row of 4 here. And then we will have to still do a platform path. Not a double platform path. A platform path across the way like so. Because we do want this path to connect across. And I do know that I think this is going to take up, so we do need to build another one here. A little convoluted, I'm aware. But yes, this will be a good way to get over to the next farmhouse. Because what I'm going to do is build an aquatic farmhouse probably like here, maybe here. Yeah, I might orient it like this or that. And the idea is we want to really go crazy using up this basin area. And again, I'm building the floodgate because we can drop it all the way to 0. So we can leave the height at 0.65. That's exactly what a dam would be at. But if we drop it down to the floor, we let more water in from the rest of the basin. We keep our aquatic plants alive, which is what we want to do. Having said all of that, it looks like we're about done. Yeah, we got most of the stuff going on to the observatory. Takes a lot of planks, but luckily we ramped up production. And they are going crazy getting these all situated. Can these platforms even be built? Yes, okay. They are accessible to some degree. Beavers are working on those quite diligently. So yes, when the next drought occurs, it's going to probably just be the same as the first one that we had, or the same as the previous season. I'm hoping it doesn't last 5 days. Again, things get more variable as time goes on. All right, it starts off on kind of easy mode for the first few cycles, but then after that, there's a variety of the lengths of the drought, and of course, eventually, hopefully not too soon. I don't recall what cycle it starts at, or what cycle it can start at, but eventually we will start getting bad tide. And that's what's really going to test our colony. And it's also going to test our storage capacity. If you haven't realized, I've been talking so much, I forgot that our water is declining. That's why I have them fill this water tank first. It's prioritized. But these show me that we are actually decreasing. This used to be all full. So I know we got the pumps, but they're not keeping up with the consumption. So it's probably a good time to research a large water pump. So unfortunately, we don't have the science for that yet. So in the interim, we're going to build another large water tank. So let's go ahead and destroy some more of these resources. I know. It's a crime. But we always knew this would happen. Eventually we'd be done with the natural blueberries. We do still have quite a ton in storage. And, you know, they're all over the map. There's some other blueberry spots, so we still have them as an option. This whole area, though, it's soaking up some really prime real estate, so we're going to make sure, though, these are being prioritized. Let's keep that guy going in there. Another thing we could do is always pause the showers during the drought. We can literally pause these buildings. You know, actually, can we? We can pause production. No, we can't pause recreation. That's interesting. Are we able to limit? Ah. So we can change the depth. Okay, well, 1 meter is, I think 1 meter is just a square. But yeah, we can use the depth to basically gauge. Interesting. Maximum depth. Oh, that's the pipe that goes down. I see. So, like, theoretically, if we were to go underwater, we can zoom down here. We can effectively change the length of that pipe. Yeah, see. So that can go down up to 3 squares. That's good to know. For now, we'll just leave it off. But yeah, so if we change the depth of the pipe from, you know, as long as it needs to be to 0, we can effectively turn the showers off during the drought in order to conserve water. The beavers won't be as happy because they don't have wet fur, but they'll be happy that they're still drinking water, so keep that in mind. Let's prioritize this, because I would like to build that water tank ASAP. We got 0.7 days left, and we need to store up some more water, so. Yeah, drought at the end of the day. We got some open beds, we got some kits, and we got 1 unemployed beaver. Not bad. We're doing good. This does take a few beavers, though. I think this takes, for the observatory, I think it's up to 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, up to 4 beavers can work there. So we will need another lodge, actually. Let's go ahead and build that. Again, we're going to go more vertical, especially now that we have our fun spiral staircases. I could probably put this like here, and then what we do is just a platform. And then we do a platform right here, and then I think we can just spiral up to that. Yeah, this is huge. Back when I played the game, there we go. Back when I played the game a little bit more often, the spiral staircases were not in it. So you had to figure out everything with this kind of wacky setup that you see here. This is like every structure had to have that kind of manual spiral to it. It was not fun. Wasted a lot of room. This is much better. This like so. Earmark it for water, and we will prioritize this. ASAP, prioritize it by haulers as well. And you know what? Hold on. We're going to pause this. We're going to give them a good 20-hour workday. We need 4 more hours out of you guys. I'm sorry. Hard working beavers. But we need it. We need the extra time because I really want to get this built at least as much as possible. Takes gears and planks for the big tank. Luckily, we have some gears in storage. And we need a... Oh, yeah. I keep prioritizing other plank projects. I'm like, why is the pine resin storage not expanded yet? Okay. Well, we're making progress. We're making progress. Again, my concern here is you'll see this flows in an interesting way. It kind of flows out, and it prefers this. This is sort of the natural flow of this river. However, there is that natural spillover that kind of goes, it kind of backwashes up. So you'll see as soon as the drought starts, this goes dry almost immediately. Because this is the absolute thinnest margin of water. It's like 0.1. So you'll see. As soon as this drought starts, right now, ooh, it's another 5-day too. The water stops, and the flow will kind of go through here. It'll basically stop flowing. You'll see all this motion come to a halt. And as soon as this stops, this will dry up because it'll flow back. Or it'll just drop entirely. But yeah, you'll see the flow back. You can see the little green outline there. That is the edge of grass. And you'll see this kind of almost immediately. There it goes. And it's gone. That's just on speed 2 right there. So, gone and gone. All right. So, having acknowledged that, of course, we finish our observatory just in time for the water to stop flowing so that it has no power. But, hey, what are you going to do? At least we got part of this water tank built. We still need more planks, which sadly we can't make because we don't have the power to make them. Again, we got 1 beaver huffing and puffing. What I could do is pause the gear production. Let's do that. We'll pause the gear workshop. We'll have an extra worker and a little bit more power to focus on the lumber mill. I think that's what we'll do. If we pause one, we have half power. It's basically 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So we'll just leave those both running for now. Look at that, the water finished flowing out of the dams. So now we're basically in stasis mode. All this is just kind of chilling. See, that's all gone. That's what we got. Because we put the dam here. So we want to keep most of it in this area. Now, what we could do also is, if you think about it, we could dam this area up right about here. And this would actually retain a good amount of this water as well. Because, yeah, it doesn't really flow through anything else. So this actually might not be the worst idea if we put a dam. It wouldn't have to be very large. Just right here. Eventually, instead of dams, I'm always going to build floodgates. Because I'm a bit of a control freak, and you could just leave them at 0.65. Or you can get custom and actually change them. So yeah, just keep that in mind as you build. Dams, they're good in the early game just because it's the first tech that you've got. But in the long term, eventually, you're going to want to use mostly floodgates. And with the automation update, you can actually control a lot of those things remotely. You can set up kind of a control panel of sorts and control multiple different floodgates with one lever. So you can basically set it up to say like, oh no, we're in bad water mode, and then just flip a switch. All your floodgates and sluices and things of that nature will adjust accordingly. Thinking about bad water, we need to get to dynamite sooner than later. Dynamite takes paper, though. I think it takes paper and bad water. Oh. Does it take? No, so we need steel to build the explosives factory to build the dynamite. We can also do tunnel. Interesting. I didn't even know that was an option. You see all this area drying up as I speak. So, what needs paper then? I could have sworn paper is a paper mill. Papers make books in the printing press. Well, the next big thing will be metal. So for metal, it's more tech. We need scavengers that can scavenge these ruins, but also we can use smelters that smelt the scrap from the ruins into usable actual metal. And then we can also build mines. And what those do is they employ miners who extract scrap metal from underground ruins. So these are the more sustainable, because obviously ruins, eventually you'll scrap them all. Gotta scrap them all, Pokemon. But these underground ruins are things like this. You see over here, underground ruins. This one's interesting because it's actually in the water basin area. Usually they tend to be a little bit more high and dry, but they're usually near natural occurring ruins. I'll try to stop clicking on them because I hate the sound they make. Creaky old rusty metal. I don't have a lot of ruins on this. There's one there. Yeah, the underground ruins up there. There's one down here. This might be the one we use, actually. That one's a little further. Although this might take a second district to work effectively. So yeah, we might need to build a kind of an industrial zone. Which could be a good way to use a lot of the power from this flowing bad water. Because you see this is almost a natural aqueduct of sorts that we could really extend. And if we keep extending this actually across the way, we can turn this whole area into a good water zone. Ooh, that could be a good idea, actually, because there's no other flowing bad water except for, if I'm correct, this is the main seep. I know there's another spot where it comes from, but I forgot where it is. Oh yeah, right here. That's a bad water source as well. So this comes through and it kind of corrupts this whole area, it floods that, it makes this whole kind of thing a nightmare. But yeah, if we keep flowing this one away, we can really use this whole area pretty effectively. So that might be my future project. Let's see here. We've got cycle 4, day 16. I'm going to play through to the end of this drought because we only have 3 more days or so of the drought. This water, thankfully, is starting to get stocked up a little bit. Again, we're going to go ahead and do what I said earlier and take these down to 0. But Beaver, stop wasting the water in the showers. Because we are definitely at a water deficit right now. We're about to run out entirely. Pumps are going crazy. But here we can probably go ahead and put down our aquatic farmhouse, like so. And then we know where this goes. So that goes all the way out there. So there's a little bit of leftover area. Again, we don't necessarily have to cover this whole area, but I'd like to. I almost wonder if it would be better to put one over here. I don't know. Well, what if we did, could we fit it like here? We could put it just right here. There's already an open space for it, and then just put a couple stairs down. We could even do a spiral staircase going down. Let's see if maybe this works. We'll do path. We need 1 platform, and then we could do spiral, flip it, spiral. Oh, we don't even need a spiral here. This could just be a stair, like that. And then we should still be able to preview what the footprint would be of this aquatic farmhouse. This one would go like so. So this would cover the majority of the sort of southern portion. That's not a huge footprint though. But I'll say that's about, what, maybe half that area over to that lip. And this, so we only have like a little couple shops there. And then there's a good little overlap as well. The only problem I have with this is that it's far. That's 55 out. That's 51. I guess they're about the same distance there. Alright, for now we're going to play on triple speed through the rest of the drought. Just because we can't do a whole lot without water moving. Mainly because we still have that plank shortage. What we can do is set up, I think I am going to do this with the extra farmhouse, so let's go ahead and build this one over here. 2 aquatic farmhouses. Double the farmers, and they do have that nice overlap zone, you can see, 1, 2. So a little bit of an overlap right here. This would be kind of the crux of the farm. And honestly, there's only this little strip, I think this 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's only like a 4 spot that's kind of the blank spot. Otherwise, we have this whole area to farm out. And conveniently, we also know where we can put our next floodgate because it stops right about here. So we will set up a future floodgate, right? Yeah, let's do it there. That only takes 4. And naturally, we'll need a platform bridge. I don't know why I just like to put them behind the floodgates. Just, I don't know, personal preference. Do I just plow straight through these blueberries and up the side here? Maybe we'll do that. Also, can I just do a... Yeah, let's do just a platform across the way. Same reasoning. We want to try to give the beavers the option to stay out of the floodwater when possible, if it's a bad water. And here we're getting to the edge, folks. I mean, this is almost as far as we really want to go with a district. Any further, and it becomes very inefficient. You can go out almost infinitely just to build random things, but for a day-to-day commute from, you know, the district center all the way out, you really don't want to be going like 66. You can see that's already bright red. It's kind of a no-no. But let's see. We want to build a path here. I'll do like that, and we'll basically cut through the trees. This is going to be a staircase, like so. And we will destroy just the trees in the way. Gonna top down here, make things a little bit easier to visualize. But yeah, eventually that'll get around to that. It's gonna be a while. And we'll destroy these resources and set up these paths. So we have, you know, pun intended, a path to the future of our colony. Look at that, that's gonna be quite a ways out. But floodgates in place, aquatic farms in progress, observatory constructed, potatoes dead, but beavers fairly happy, and they're well fed. Running a little bit low on water, but thankfully this extra tank helped quite a bit. And thus begins Cycle 5. Another drought is over, and it's the beginning of a new day here in our Lakes playthrough on Timberborn. And I think that's as good a time as any to end an episode. So if you've made it this far, please feel free to like and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Tallidus Plays.